On November 18, 1983, a little holiday movie was released called A Christmas Story. It went on to become a beloved holiday classic, spawning merchandising of all kinds and a stage show, in spite of the fact that it flopped at the box office. And while you may have a favorite character or scene or can quote dialogue from the movie, you probably don't know that it was based on a book. Well, there is more to the story. In the credits of the film, it states that it was based on the novel In God We Trust, All Others Pay Cash. And if you read the book, you find that they stayed pretty loyal to it while also changing quite a bit to turn the book into the film everybody loves today. The first major difference is that it was not really based on a novel. The book is a collection of short stories written by writer and radio personality Jean Shepherd, and loosely strung together with small vignettes of Ralphie talking to his old friend Flick about their childhood. The movie, written by Jean Shepherd and director Bob Clark, yeah, that Bob Clark, takes parts of these different stories and strings them into one narrative, and even borrows elements from other story collections, and most of the stories do not even take place at Christmas. The old man in the book is pretty much the way he's portrayed in the film, except that he wears Harold Lloyd glasses and a straw skimmer, and the mom is given a little bit of a backstory, being described as a retired flapper. One of the stories you'll remember is about Ralph and his secret decoder pin from the Little Orphan Annie show, after which he becomes a member of the Secret Circle and receives the message that turns out to be a crummy commercial. It's from a story called The Counterfeit Secret Circle Member, or The Asp Strikes Back. Shepherd was pretty good at coming up with absurd titles, the Asp being a reference to a character on the radio show. All of this follows the book pretty closely, except that in the movie, Ralphie claims to have drank gallons of Ovaltine. In the book, however, he says he lived in a non-Ovaltine drinking neighborhood, meaning that it was too expensive for his family to buy. Instead, Ralphie finds the discarded Ovaltine can and assumes some rich family has thrown it out. He finds the inner seal from the label, which is what he needs for the pin, and mails it off. One of the most memorable things from the movie is the old man's major award, the leg lamp, which he also wins in the book, based on a story entitled My Old Man and the Lascivious Special Award that heralded the birth of pop art. The old man enters a trivia contest, except that the movie suggests that the contest is about characters in American literature, while in the book it's a contest about sports, something the old man has a deep knowledge of. And it's not just one contest, but several rounds that he receives in the mail and ponders over late into the night before mailing each one of them off. The contest goes on for weeks until he finally does win. And when he does find out that he's won the contest, he doesn't just dance around the living room, he invites his buddies over for a drink. The leg lamp does take its place of honor in the front window, just like in the movie, but in the book it also has a nightlight function, which means it can be seen at all hours of the night. This intensifies the embarrassment that the mother has for the lamp and fuels her resentment. And the story builds to its finale when the mother accidentally breaks the lamp, and that is where we find the biggest change to this particular tale. In the film, the old man comes running up from the basement, covered in soot from fighting the furnace, but in the book, he is in the shower when he hears it break and comes running out in a towel, still clutching his bar of Lifebuoy soap. In his grief, he actually loses the towel, and although the version in the book is funnier, it would have killed the PG rating. The old man does leave the house looking for glue, which we see in the film, but what we don't see is that in his anger, he slams his car door so hard that he breaks the window. After this incident, the parents don't speak for days, until the mother finally breaks the stalemate by stating that maybe the lamp wasn't so bad, and the old man admits that it was too jazzy, and they go out and buy another lamp. Now, while Ralphie's problems with Scud Farkus feature pretty prominently in the film, he's not much of a big presence in the book. In fact, the fight that Ralphie gets into is not between he and Scud, but between he and Grover Dill. In a story called Grover Dill and the Tasmanian Devil, Ralphie and his brother are coming home from school, tossing a ball back and forth when Grover strikes, only it's not with a snowball. He trips Ralphie up, but just like in the movie, Ralphie blows his fuse and goes on the attack, and the two boys have to be dragged apart. Later in the evening, Ralphie is so overwhelmed by the stress of it all that he ends up throwing up. Now, the anecdote about the Christmas turkey is from a story entitled The Grandstand Passion Play of Delbert Bumpus and the Bumpus Hounds, and it is from a completely different collection of stories. The main difference here is that it is not the Christmas turkey that the old man is wild about, and that gets devoured by the neighbor's dogs, but the Easter ham. In the movie, it's never really clear how the dogs get into the house, but in the book, they are somehow led in by the neighbor Delbert Bumpus to get even with Ralphie over an incident at school. Afterwards, the old man is so infuriated that he does not just yell at the Bumpuses, he takes a milk bottle from the back porch and shatters it against their house. But just like in the movie, he decides that they are all going out to eat, and in the book, he tells them that they are going to the Chinese joint for chop suey. The only story that actually takes place at Christmas is the one about the Red Ryder BB gun. It's called The Duel in the Snow, or Red Ryder Nails the Cleveland Street Kid, and this is the story that all the others are placed into for the film. And like the others, there are only a few differences between the book and the movie. For one, in the movie, Ralphie decides to go see Santa after getting a C+ on his Christmas theme and feels that all of his other efforts have failed. In the book, he actually goes before this and discovers that Santa smokes camels just like his Uncle Charles. While Santa's helpers are dressed like traditional elves in the movie, in the book they're all dressed like Snow White. On Christmas morning, we see the family wake up to open their presents, as most families do, and Ralphie finally gets his cherished BB gun. In the book, however, they have their celebration on Christmas Eve. The kids go out to the store with the old man to get some wine, and when they come back, Santa has already been there. And the bunny suit from Aunt Clara? It's not actually a suit, just some bunny slippers, but Ralphie still fears that one of his friends might see him wearing them. While many changes were made to squeeze a bunch of stories into one movie, it all remains pretty faithful to the original material. It even quotes the stories exactly in some places. If you like the movie and you like good, laugh-out-loud, funny stories, you should check out the work of Gene Shepard, where you can read about Ralphie from the time he is a little boy to when he goes into the army and into college. And if you like this story, please give it a thumbs up, and be sure to come back for more.